Hey, so what's way cool is KGW is really interested in this bus driver retaliation, school board activist retaliation, double whammy case that's getting blown out of the water by Project Veritas versus Michael Schmidt up here in Clatsop County, where we have nothing better to do at the Clatsop County's office than prosecute women whistleblowers for social media posts. Um, while, convicted rapist John Ewan appears to have started the whole incident. I know him because he lived behind the recovery house, a restoration house in Seaside, right across from the AA house, selling meth behind a recovery house for years. He's apparently banned at Funland, banned on the main strip, banned from being anywhere near schools. I didn't know he was a convicted rapist. I did, however, know he was a rapist due to raping someone I know. He told me at church dinner, oh, but I waited until she turned 18. And I'm like, but she was unconscious. That means she can't consent. And he's was a gross, disgusting old man. He's like 66 now. I think he was like 58 at the time of this rape. So this whole thing begins. I'm going to read this post my friend found on Facebook. Emily Rainica, Clatsop County Rants, Raves, and Recommendations, October 7th, 2022. A couple of days ago, a heavily intoxicated convicted rapist with a violent history tried to drive straight at the bus I was driving while at the Fred Meyer stop. He swerved and jumped out at the last minute, blocking me from leaving, and began to yell in my driver window to tell my coworker that his neighbor was dead and his neighbor's wife was dead and some other person was dead, etc. He could have also struck a passenger that was loading a bike. Then he proceeded to make an immediate U-turn when he left and landed on the sidewalk, which he drove on before barreling down 101. I radioed for help, but CCSO dispatch and OSP flubbed the dispatch when Sunset Empire Transit District, SETD, called them. But here's the worst part. Sunset Empire Transit District Director Jeff Hazen, who is responsible for approving the trespassing of individuals from SETD buses and property, didn't trespass the suspect who was charged by law enforcement for the incident. And the suspect quite literally is a convicted rapist with a history of assault and menacing and is currently dealing with mental psychosis, according to law enforcement. The suspect was released from jail and isn't supposed to be anywhere near the victim, me, or where I work because of his release agreement. He literally got released and showed up at the Astoria Transit Center. A coworker tried to alert management, and they told them to let him ride. What the flip? Jeff Hazen says he takes things seriously, but safety of employees or passengers is not one of them. He keeps passing it off to the HR person who is out of town like he is powerless when he's the executive director. And so then she puts in the just like the fact that he was in jail October 4th, 2022, John Milton Ewan, who I've been calling his probation agent, Dan Smith, years ago about confronting him about his rape, trying to support the victim through the horrible process of trying to report sexual assaults to these. And what is the district attorney doing? Prosecuting the bus driver? Okay, so now I think what we need to do is go back and see if that context from Facebook helps us understand what's going on in this crazy document I read at the courthouse the other day. Page 42 of this incredible document regarding this woman being prosecuted by what? The school board and the transit district? Really? Prosecute your bus driver? Okay, so this is Emily Rainica. I am writing for two reasons. Firstly, I'm writing to motion to the court to dismiss 23CR00379 and 23CR04264. Both cases were maliciously and wrongfully filed for the personal benefit of Jeff Hazen and Heidi Wintermute, without merit, both of whom are known to District Attorney Ron Brown. Mr. Brown has admitted to the Oregon State Bar, so I have now submitted a records request to the Oregon State Bar about this, that he knows Jeff Hazen and Heidi Wintermute, as well as several other individuals previously mentioned to the court that are connected to Sunset Empire Transportation District and the Astoria School District. With respect to both cases, State v. Neff 246 or OR App 186, Oregon Court of Appeals 2011 would be applicable, and Mr. Brown's filings, including charging documents, do not state facts sufficient to establish an allegation that a criminal act occurred, because in fact no crime occurred. If this was a civil matter, this matter would be dismissed with prejudice because it wouldn't survive an ORCP 21 motion. Additionally, there are material flaws within the charging documents that show Mr. Brown was attempting to manufacture meritless charges. In the Sunset Empire Transportation District matter, Mr. Brown alleged that a criminal act occurred on December 20th, 2022 during a meeting. That is physically impossible to have occurred, as I did not work for Sunset Empire Transportation District after December 9, 2022, and no meetings of this Sunset Empire Transportation District Board occurred between December 9, 2022 and January 2023 board meeting. Jeff Hazen also did not have the required authorization from the Sunset Empire Transportation District Board to make a report to law enforcement regarding the matter, but did so in retaliation for whistleblowing against him. In addition, Mr. Brown had been communicating with Jeff Hazen prior to the filing of the baseless charges. Jeff Hazen at the time knew that he was under investigation by the Sunset Empire Transportation District for misconduct and that the board was going to be considering disciplinary action against him at its February 15th, 2023 meeting, when he emailed Deputy Chief Halverson and communicated with Ron Brown. Jeff Hazen was in fact formally disciplined on the 15th of February by the Sunset Empire Transportation District Board and was suspended without pay for 3 days. And now Jeff Hazen is no longer an employee of the Sunset Empire Transportation District because he resigned from before the board could terminate his employment. With regards to the Astoria School District matter, there is again a material flaw with Mr. Brown's charging document that warrants dismissal of this case with prejudice. In that matter, Mr. Brown again alleged a date that was physically incapable of occurring. Mr. Brown alleged that a criminal act occurred on October 13th, 22 at a meeting when in fact the Astoria School District Board did not have a meeting on October 13th, 22, and I was at work at Sunset Empire Transportation District on October 13th, 2022. In addition, the Astoria School District has since admitted to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission that they, in fact, recorded their October 12th, 22 meeting and provided a copy of the recording to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, OGEC. The recording was made on Marissa Flukinger's cell phone that sat in plain view on the table where she sat in close proximity to Heidi Wintermute. Marissa is the board secretary of the Astoria School District and ASD Superintendent Craig Hopp's administrative assistant. So even if Ron Brown tried to haphazardly refile, he would not be able to allege that a crime occurred because the facts do not support even the filing of a charge because of state v. Neff. Both cases should be dismissed with prejudice. Okay, so then let me go over here and read this tiny little Facebook post, and I've republished it under the heading, Clatsop County Stop Jailing and Prosecuting Bloggers. Emily Rainica, October 12th, 2022, stated, Astoria School Board is corrupt and is costing the district a lot of money. Tonight, the board met in executive session to hear a complaint against Craig Hops, but they'd only allow 10 minutes to present everything. Jeanette Sampson and Heidi Wintermute would rather lose millions in district funds than wait for their experts to research answers that they admitted to not knowing if board members didn't believe what was presented in the all too short time. I commend the parent who also stood up and voiced her concern, but sadly, the executive session further proves that the Astoria School Board will not actually do anything substantive about her concern or handle my case appropriately, nor will they answer her questions that she asked of the board. And so I don't really know school board corruption, but I know Heidi Winterman's on the front page. I know her husband's a judge now. He was a defense attorney, and right as he became nominated to be a judge, he was making false allegations on behalf of the meth dealer Ozark Iraq, who I just found out is calling his clients rats to their faces because he's so worried about the investigation by the state agency regarding his civil rights violations against them. So I reported that to city council and city commissioners. And then Judge Paula Brownhill's husband is evidently representing either the school board or the transit persecution of this whistleblower, one leg of one victim in this array of potential victims of this dangerous Facebook posting lady. It's really absurd. Sorry if my sarcasm doesn't translate, but just wanted you to know what I found, and I'm so excited that KGW is interested. And oh my gosh, I was like, can I give you the clatsop DA's number? And he's like, I've got it. Like, I can get that. And so I can only imagine how annoyed the clatsop district attorney would be to be called by KGW. When I had K2 calling him years ago, he was livid. He was screaming on the phone, "You called K2!" And I'm like, we know you hate bloggers. We know you hate journalists. Clatsop County is kind of hot right now. All the rich people want to move here to get away from Portland. And rich and educated people aren't really going to put up with this level of corruption. So, hate to break it to you, but it's time to tone up your act and maybe get some younger, fresher faces involved, get some alternative justice processes. I went to mental health court today with my friend, and it was really interesting to see the justice system attempting to be humane and kind of decent and friendly. I think they still need to do some theatrical adjustments, because I think the judge still up high on this high podium like J. Edgar Hoover is kind of like oppressive, even though it's the nice judge. And like, the sweet lady from the court, Darla, oh my gosh, I've never seen anyone be that sweet anywhere near that courthouse. It was just adorable. But the whole thing still was nerve-wracking. But I gave the judge the head back nod thing, and I was like, what did I do? Some like bro guy head nod, because my friend acknowledged me as her supporter. It was kind of heartwarming, but yeah, and I think judges need to start paying attention to their conflicts of interest. You can't just go around prosecuting anyone who accuses you of mismanaging a budget, like that's, or violating a sexual harassment best practice. Like, you just shouldn't be prosecuting people for pointing out obvious stuff. You should be like, oh, thank you for your input, thank you for your passion, like Aaron Carlson originally did. And oh my gosh, we might even have to make a t-shirt that says the Rat Pack to dedicate to the way. Do you want to hear what I wrote? Let's just jump into my email really quick and publicize this. I haven't published them yet. I publish almost all my good emails, guys. So if you want to send me some crazy stuff, I might publish it. Yeah, I think people stopped actually sending me crazy emails once they realized I like publish everything. Okay, let's go into sent. Let's see. Okay, let's do the letter to prosecutor. Alex Thomas, who I ran into at the bakery yesterday. Hi, I just wanted to let you know that I got a report today from a homeless woman that Ozark Iraq is calling her a rat at the LiFEBoat facility where she gets her lunch. She is vulnerable and has suffered violence from his clients, as well as her family member suffering violence from his male clients. She knows this is in retaliation for his suspicion that she is a whistleblower of his sexually harassing the homeless women at the facility about their weight, or for reporting sexual assault, or because of their gender. She told me that he comes up to her and says under her breath to her and her animals, "Oh, it's the Rat Pack." In the discovery materials to my case, a whistleblowing email I wrote to the director of the warming center, which may have information he refers to, information I intended to be confidential regarding informants of his harassment. I regret the betrayal of their identity through this data breach. Teresa Barnes basically probably handed over Ozark a blacklist of all the people he could persecute. Teresa Barnes, so way not cool, but, you know, is probably over her head or something. Or maybe she just wanted to hope that he wouldn't retaliate against all of them. Well, she blames me and just says basically like, well, this other guy believes you, but I believe Ozark. And I'm like, okay, well, what about all these whistleblowers? So kudos to all the brave whistleblowers against Ozark's abuse. The reason I'm letting you know this is because I believe it's exculpatory evidence regarding his mindset of continued retaliation against people who whistleblow him, or who he suspects of whistleblowing him, or who he knows he has engaged in crude sexual propositioning in their presence. I suspected it might happen, this data breach, but I was tired of taking the heat from Ozark Iraq's retaliation when there are many witnesses to his abusive treatment of the poor. The investigator at the State Agency Bureau of Labor and Industries, who is investigating the civil rights discrimination at LiFEBoat, says that he has enough information to complete a report of findings. I look forward to its publication. I hope you are well. I do not want her to face this type of retaliation or fear when she attends to receive meals. I saw the woman who says she can't eat at LiFEBoat because Ozark hates women. I saw her ride her bicycle past me today. And then I heard about another woman who said Ozark fed all the men she was in the same group with, very obviously refused to feed her, and drove his little bicycle away. So I sent that on to City Council, and then I sent it to Viviana Matthews, Amy Baker at Clatsop Behavioral Health, Gigi, who is another woman that Ozark harasses and discriminates against, who works for CBH, and then who else did I send it to? Oh yeah, KGW, Nicole Bales. Oh, I didn't send it to the police. I think they know. I think me and the police are just, we're having a little bit of a WTF moment. Like, do they even care? But, like, how absolutely dehumanizing to call a woman a rat. A woman a rat at a homeless meal site, day center, soup kitchen, navigation center, if you must use the preposterous, overfunded word. So on the charitable filings, if they ever get around to filing that, they're going to have to, there's a question that's like, are you being sued or investigated? They're going to have to say yes, and then they get to attach a page. Whoops. But they're so behind on their finance, and I heard they gave themselves a raise.